If you want to become rich in real estate and buy something stupid like a Lambo like I did, stick around and watch this because I'm going to give you a couple of ways that you can find off-market properties to make you some serious money. By the way, don't buy a Lambo. I just did that shit because I always thought I wanted one and it's not that great. But anyway, here's one thing that you should do, or actually 3 things that you should do. And I'm gonna go through ways that I've found off-market properties that has made me a substantial amount of money. So when it comes to finding off-market properties, and by the way, forgive me, this is my real handwriting, this is real shit, this is what I really wrote. What I like to do is we do direct to seller marketing, meaning we like to go directly to sellers in our market and market directly to them. So these are 3 ways that I'm gonna give you. The first 2 are if you're not starting out with a ton of money or a ton of budget, this is something that can help you, okay? So getting rich and getting wealthy in real estate is not as hard as people think. Now, by no means is it easy, but it's nowhere near as hard as what people think, okay? So how do you find distressed sellers or people who want to sell that would be willing to work with you and give you a good deal? Number 1, list stacking and cold calling. Okay, so what's list stacking? It is, and pretty much anywhere in the United States, you can go get a list of probate, a list of people behind on their mortgages, a list of people behind on their taxes, HOA, municipality liens, whatever the case is. You can get all that data and pull it, and then cold call to try to get them to sell you their property. Now, you got to make sure that you're compliant. There's all kinds of rules against cold calling. I'm not going to get into that because I'm not an attorney, but that's something you have to understand from that process. Or you could use a service like realfuel.ai that can pull you all that distressed data in your marketplace. But what I will tell you is when I first started in real estate, I didn't have any money. So I would pull these lists and I would call these people myself, and I got tons and tons of deals out of it. And over time, as we started to grow our business, I started to hire cold callers in order to do that. And I will tell you to this day, it's still one of the big sources that we get business from, and it's not super expensive to do this. So that's one way. Another thing is driving for dollars. What driving for dollars is you drive around neighborhoods, you find the properties that are abandoned, the grass is in the yard, whatever the case is, you go pull the information, try to get in touch with the homeowner and reach out direct to them to get them to sell you the property. Now, if you're out driving around and you find a property that's abandoned, grass is growing up, whatever the case is, there is a piece of technology called Deal Machine that we also use that you can pull it up right from your phone, find out what information you need to, and you can send a letter right there on the spot in the app to the homeowner. So obviously when I first started, we didn't have that. So what I would do is I'd go find the homeowner's information and I would call them and I would also send them a letter. But driving for dollars is one thing that's helped us a lot, and it's not expensive over the years. And to this day, I run a ton of companies, and if I'm riding around, I see an abandoned property, I will stop, get that information, have my team call them or I'll call them, and I'll also send them a letter because it's such a powerful thing to use. So that's another one that's not expensive. Now, my favorite one by far, which has made us the most amount of money, is sending direct mail through a direct mail house. So we use REI print mail, but REI combines basically the first 2 here, and they use their own marketing technology, whatever the case is. They list stack, they find the abandoned properties in the market, they find everything, and then they direct mail to the seller to get you inbound leads. Now, direct mail is expensive. So I will tell you, if you're gonna be successful in the off-market game and you wanna do this consistently, you're gonna wanna get there eventually. But when you first start, it can be difficult because it is expensive. However, it is by far the best ROI. Now, in different markets, you know what I mean? It has better ROI in some markets than others, but I will tell you by far, it is one of the best ROIs we've ever had, if not the best in the off-market game. So basically, they send letters and checks to homeowners in your market, and they have all the data to know which ones to send it to, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's so successful. So what I will tell you is if you're starting in the off-market game, you start here, you start to stack some deals, stack some money, but get to a spot where you know you can get to a mail house like REI and get to direct mail, because once you turn the direct mail on, it's gonna pay you and generate you income forever. So there's other ways to get deals. These are 3 really easy, short ones that I wanted to give you today. 2 of them are very inexpensive. 1 is more expensive that you graduate into, but you do all 3, start with the 2, graduate to the 3rd, and then never stop. We're gonna give you other tips and tricks of how to generate generate more deals in your market to get off market sellers, but this is a really good place to start. Now that I've given you a place to find the deals, check out the video I did on the BRRRR method of how you can acquire the properties to hold them for long term, make them cash flow for little to no money down.